Hello, welcome to my next episode. This is my episode where I knock off, what do I got here? 1, 2, 3, 6. I got 7 horror movies, and they're all from the Conjuring Universe. And then I have my big box set for the finale. And I'm going to move quick because the 7 plus my box set is 20 movies. So I'm going to just move quick and get started right away here. After I'm done, like my next week's episode, I'll be getting back into more of a random mix of movies because I will be done with these 2 big box sets. I still have tons of box sets to go, but I'll get back to them when I can. So this first one, the first Conjuring movie I'm going to do first here. This is the one that started the whole universe, the Conjuring Universe. James Wan is the director, and these are based on the true... I don't really need to go into great detail. I'm pretty sure most people know all of the story behind them and everything. Like, they know that they're based on Ed and Lorraine Warren, the real life ghost hunters and demon hunters, and their whole backstory. And if you don't, there's like all these movies I'm about to show you have fucking special features on all of them that go deep diving into their life, what they actually did, the full true stories from their mouths, stuff like that. But this first Conjuring movie is, by the way, I'd love if this set would get like a 4K trilogy or something, but maybe it has and I don't even have it. This first movie is a masterpiece to me. This is a top 5 exorcist movie, like exorcism / demon movie of all time for me. It is, I think Ed and Lorraine, Patrick Wilson, and Vera Farmiga. Yeah, it's Vera Farmiga. Vera Farmiga, yes. I think they just nail these characters. They're awesome together on screen. The chemistry is like perfect. And then you get to the actual filming of the movie. I love how it opens with almost like the Texas Chainsaw, the original. It's opening where it makes it truly feel like a real life story. And I also just love it's fascinating that whether you believe in demons or not, it's fascinating that these 2 people actually claim they did all these things. And that it's all real and stuff. That just blows my mind. I love the special features because it makes you ponder the idea of whether it could possibly be true. It's like I'm a full non-believer. So when I'm watching it, it's like, oh, there's so many people involved that are saying that they seen it. So it's really tough. It walks that line of fascination. James Wan himself has been fascinated with the story since he was a kid. Seen that on the special features. He does an interview and he said he's been obsessed with the Warrens his whole life, basically. So it was an honor to be able to bring it to screen. And he does a perfect job with this first one. All the performances are awesome. I love just how dark and just demonic it is. Like, it just feels uncomfortable. There's a couple pretty creepy ass scenes. They're nice. Like, I think I love this because it's a slow burn. Like, it's not trying to scare you endlessly. Like, it's like trying to give you a good solid story mixed with some good scares and then a great finish. First one's a masterpiece, must see for everybody. And then Conjuring 2 here. This is the introduction of Valak, the nun. And this one, to me, is the second best. So the first one there is my favorite in the whole universe. Conjuring 2 is my second favorite in the universe. And I think the storytelling in this one is so good. I just love how... I don't want to ruin the twist in case someone hasn't seen it, or hasn't in a long time and would like to rewatch it. But Valak is playing a game in this one. And Ed and Lorraine are just having a hard time solving this case. And I enjoy the story building here. Even the world building, like, you can tell that they're about to start a universe. It feels like it. Like everything's just going to attach itself together. And I hope they continue with these forever. Patrick Wilson shows off his singing chops in this. Where he sings, Can't Help Falling in... It's Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis, right? Yeah. Such a good song. One of the greatest love songs of all time. Patrick Wilson nails it. It's just there's so many good moments in this that are just creepy. Like, this one ups it. It feels way less true story than the first one does. This one's just like, let's go hard on the demons. Mentions the Amityville haunting in this. Brings up a bunch of stuff, but all the acting is superb again. Both of these movies are 5 out of 5 for me. They are, in my opinion, 2 of the greatest demon movies ever made. And that's all there is to say about that. And then I'm going to jump to Conjuring 3 here. This one I do have on 4K. I'd like to upgrade these first 2 as well. Just because of how dark and nice they are. I think they'd look great on 4K. But yeah, Conjuring 3. Now this one gets back to like... more story-driven, less scares. This one's really based on real events for a section of it. So it's almost like it's not a courtroom drama, but it's almost like a courtroom drama because they're trying to solve this case, and it actually leads to Ed and Lorraine in real life helping get a guy off of murder based on demonic possession, which is just unbelievable when you think about that. So it's a lot of them just gathering evidence and trying to figure out how to prove that somebody's demonically possessed. And I actually enjoy it. It's not on the level of these first 2, obviously, but I still I enjoyed it. I really like the third one. It's its own thing. And it has some pretty creepy moments in it as well. But yeah, Conjuring 3, another must-see. So the first 2 are 5s for me. This third one would probably be more like a 3, but still worthy of a watch. And then I'm going to jump over to the spin-off here, The Nun. This one's more of a time piece. It's basically the beginning story of Valak, the nun demon. And they bring in Thaisa Farmiga, Vera's sister, and she plays a nun in this. And basically it's just the origin story of Valak, and and it kind of like delivers great atmospheric cinematography. It's very it's slow, and it's not for everybody, just like Nun 2. This one is it's just a lot more story driven and demands your attention more, is what I would say. But I really like The Nun. My daughters went to see it in the theater or at a friend's house or something, and they told me that it wasn't that good. So when I went in to see, like when I finally got my hands on it back when it came out, I watched it myself, and I kind of was like, okay, well, I really like this. And then they watched it again with me, and they both, pretty sure, it's a while ago, years ago, so I'm pretty sure they both changed their opinions a bit and liked it a bit more at home. Which is, I find a big, that happens with a lot of movies for a lot of people. Is your experience at a movie theater is a lot different than at home, where you're more relaxed and you don't have anything distracting you. It's just like sit back, relax, and watch a movie. But yeah, Nun, I would give like a 3.5. I really enjoy that one. And then we get this one. I have it in a 3-pack here. This is Annabelle 1, 2, and 3. The first one here is just called Annabelle. It also stars Annabelle. They casted Annabelle Wallis as the lead, which is cool, like Annabelle in an Annabelle movie. I find that neat. And this one is another one that's highly story driven, and a lot of people weren't huge fans. Like I always say a lot of people. What I mean is what I've read on the internet is that people weren't huge fans of any of these 3 movies, actually. And I like the first one. I don't really like it. I think it's got a few minor acting problems here and there where the people are a little bit not great. I feel like it gets a little bit too slow in like the middle and needed to add in a few more scares in there or something. But they're trying to try to build an atmosphere of what Annabelle is and the evil presence that comes along with it. So it's a cool story of like she's driving the main girl mad basically, and just making you do crazy shit. And then the second one is a step up for me, Annabelle Creation. This is the origin story. And I actually think this one is probably my 3rd favorite in the whole series. Right behind Conjuring and Conjuring 2. This Annabelle Creation would be the 3rd best in the Conjuring universe for me. And it's because of these it takes place in an orphanage, and the child actors are all so good. Like, it's actually crazy how well they're acting out these scenes. And the main girl that's crippled and walks with the crutches, she nails it. Like, her acting feels like she's a all-star basically, and she's been doing it her whole life. But I just like the origin story here, and I find the scares to actually be pretty creepy. It's not, I don't know, it gets back to like just good, solid, scary moments. And then the third one, Annabelle Comes Home. This is probably my least favorite of the entire Conjuring universe. It's still for me like a 2. But this is another one where it feels like it's a little bit too PG. Like, you can really feel how much, like, just how I don't know, it's another one of these situations where it's kind of like the kids version of these movies, where the scares are all brought down a little bit so they're not like too unbelievably jumpy and terrifying. Like, you just feel it a bit. But the storyline's cool. Like, this one focuses on Ed and Lorraine's daughter, and she's being babysat basically for a night, and the 2 girls babysitting her have their subplots and sub-stories. and the one girl's father killed himself, and she is only there to try to sneak into Ed and Lorraine's room of cursed objects so that she can try to communicate with her dad. Crazy bad stuff happens there. Basically, like, what this one feels like to me is like an episode of Goosebumps, a little bit scarier, obviously. That's what it feels like. Feels like an episode of Goosebumps, or Are You Afraid of the Dark, or something from the 90s. But it's still good. Like, every single one of these are pretty solid. They're all 2 to 5, and are all must-sees. Like, they're all great horror. I would recommend every single one of them. Needs a watch. I already did Nun 2 on my episode that was my top 2023. Sorry, my top 23. My top 2023 movies of the year, horror movies. So I'm not going to cover that in here because I'm trying not to cover the same movie twice ever unless I get like a 4K upgrade of a movie I did on Blu-ray and it's like leagues better and I need to talk about it. But like I'm just doing these ones for now. There's also The Curse of La Llorona, which isn't a part of the Conjuring Universe, but really freaking feels like it is. I didn't include that one either. I might do it in a future episode by itself with some other stuff, but yeah, Conjuring Universe. Solid. Like, this is a great collection of movies and needs to be seen by everybody, in my opinion. And then I'm going to get on to my final beast here. This is the Shaw Scope Volume 2 collection. Very nice, just like the first one. This one's done in like a nice orange with tint on it, so the light glares off in nice ways. Just another beauty of a set. I don't need to go too much in detail. It's pretty much the exact same layout as the first one. And just, these are freaking phenomenal, man. Don't know what to say. It comes with your Beast book again. Absolutely awesome. You got all your front photos. Oh, I need to turn again here because it's really hard to to show the camera stuff when you're sitting like that. But yeah, it's got your book. Comes with your shit ton. This is an entire write-up, The Legacy of Shaw Brothers Studio, and it's literally like pages and pages telling you just all kinds of stuff. And then you get into your movies. Each one gets its own page, full description, film notes, trivia, name the tunes, all that stuff. And it's just as thick as the first one I did in my last episode. Like, it's another beast reader, and it's awesome. Absolute must on that. And then we got our nice book of movies here again, like always. Really nice there. Nice and thick. And open her up here. Let's see what we got. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Now, this is Gordon Liu here. He is an absolute beast of martial arts. He's in a shit ton of these Shaw movies. He's also, for people that have only seen the more modern stuff, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. He plays 2 characters in that movie. The first character in the first movie, he plays the leader of the Crazy 88 that is wearing the bandana around his eyes, like Zorro. That's him, as a much older man, obviously. And then in the second movie, he's the like the Grand Master that she goes to visit to learn new styles. And he's got like the huge white beard, and he looks like the classic like martial arts master, basically. That's him as well. Nails both the roles. But anyways, back to this movie. This one, if you type in greatest martial arts movies of all time. This one is number one on multiple websites that I've gone on lists. This is supposed to be, is widely considered one of, if not the greatest martial arts movie ever made. Now, for my opinions, it isn't for me. This is a top 20, but it's probably not in my top 10. It's like in the bottom half of that. I think my biggest problem with it, like, the storyline's really good, and like, he goes basically to Shaolin Temple, and there's 35 chambers, and he wants to master all 35 of them, and he ends up becoming so good that he creates his own 36th chamber, and he does it all to get revenge. And then that's what the plot is. They build off of that. But this has this box set as well. I will say this: it has the Cinema Hong Kong's documentary parts 2 and 3 on here in this set, along with endless special features. I'm not even gonna get into the special features in each of these movies. As you can see, they are that much for every single movie, and a lot of it isn't even specifically for the movie. It's just other documentaries. These two sets will tell you, like, a massive, you'll know tons about Shaw Brothers and all these martial arts movies and everything by just watching the special features just on these two sets. And this is only covering like 24 Shaw Brothers movies. But yeah, 36 Chamber of Shaolin. This one is about a 4 for me. Still top notch. On the second page here, you have the 2 sequels. So the second one is the Return of the 36th Chamber, or Return to the 36th Chamber. This one has Gordon Liu back again, but this time he's playing a different character. So there's someone else playing his character from the first movie, and now he's a different character in this one, so which threw me off a little bit at the beginning. But it grows on you after a few minutes. You get used to it. And this one ups the action. Basically, he's just a guy that wants to learn martial arts so he can do better things in his life, basically. So he comes here and isn't showing any signs. He's cheating his way through everything, which is pretty funny. Like, it's dishonorable, but it's quite funny, some of the stuff he's doing to get through these chambers and shit. I laughed pretty loud at some parts. Loved it. And then he's asked to, like, build scaffolding around the temple and help rebuild it. And it takes him 5 years to do this. And while doing this, he's watching all the people training, and he's learning martial arts and practicing while doing all the scaffolding. And he basically invents his own style of martial arts in this. And he doesn't even realize it. And he gets kicked out of the Shaolin Temple because they find out he's there because he's trying to do the revenge thing again. Like, he wants to go back to this village and kick all these bad guys out of it so that free the people kind of thing. And Shaolin monks aren't supposed to get involved in politics. Like, they are their own thing. So they kick him out, and he goes back, and he's so embarrassed and ashamed of himself. His family's so excited that he's back. They assume he's learned crazy martial arts now. And he's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't allowed. And then he goes to fight, and he realizes that he's actually, like, a master because he's did all the scaffolding stuff. And he has a style that nobody's ever seen before, and it's really good. I like this one. It's like a 3.5, maybe even a 4. It's solid. And then in Disciples of the 36th Chamber, these are all, he's back in his role as as the lead, like in the first one, and it's just a bunch of new recruits basically, and he's training them all, and it's just more awesomeness from Gordon Liu in the 36th Chamber. I'm taking a little too long on these, but I'm just gonna move through. This one is probably this one's a little bit less for me. It's probably like a 3. But yeah, great music in all these too, I gotta say. Like, some of these movies, the soundtracks, or the scores, not soundtracks, the scores are awesome. These next two here, we got Mad Monkey Kung Fu over here. This one, absolutely awesome martial arts on display here. Like, this one guy here's a monk. He's a master of the monkey style. So it's just chaos. It's really cool to watch him do what he can do in this style. And it's another tale of, like, just revenge and getting your just desserts, basically. He teams up and they go and take out the bad guys. This one would be more in the lines of like a 3.5 from me. 5 Super Fighters. This one is also like this one's more like the 3. It's like 3's as low as I go on all these sets, because they're all so good that it's kind of hard to rank them other than like your absolute favorites, because they're all good. They're all worthy of a watch. So I don't even really need to tell you how good each one is in their rankings. They're all fun, and you will find enjoyment in every single one of the movies in here. I'm just trying to show this set off, basically. But yeah, 5 Super Fighters, another great one. There's a lot in this set. I think there's 2 extra movies in this than the last one, so move a little quicker. Invincible Shaolin, and The Kid with the Golden Arm. Now, Invincible Shaolin is the better of these two, and it's just, this one falls more in the line of, like, who's the good guy. Actually, both of these do. Like, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, really, in these fights. That's what both of these kind of remind me of. They're like, there is no good guy or bad guy, really. There's a couple really bad guys, but everybody's kind of shitty, and you don't really know who you're rooting for. So these two are more just like, look what these people can do. These are like more pure martial arts movies for the hardcore fan. Some awesome special features, geez, I can't say that enough. I'm reading it as I'm telling you, and some of them are just awesome. Like this one here. So we got Magnificent Ruffians and the 10 Tigers of Kwantung. But there's a documentary on this one called Rivers and Lakes, and it gives you like a whole history documentary on ancient China, and it's really freaking awesome. Just really cool. Trying to show you and show you like how accurate their movies are compared to what it would have really looked like, kind of thing. But yeah, Magnificent Ruffians, this one is probably my least favorite in the set. This would be this was still a 3, but it would be like, if I was ranking the whole set, this one would probably be last place. Still some great martial arts on display, obviously. And the 10 Tigers of Kwantung. Really enjoyed this one. I thought all the acting was extra good. Like, it felt like people were really performing well on this one. And putting a little extra work in. And it's probably because it was directed by Chang Che. And he's like one of the most legendary of the Shaw Brothers directors. Maybe the most legendary, actually. And so I'm guessing he just demanded everybody's respect. because they feel like they're going above and beyond in this one. But yep, 2 must watches yet again here. I'm trying not to go too detailed. Like if I like honestly, I could do 1 episode per movie and just tell you every single thing about the movie and how much I love it basically, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. Like you don't need to know everything. I don't think. Just trying to sell you, any non-martial arts fans, just trying to make sure that you even ponder the idea or consider the idea of watching some of these. My Young Auntie, possibly my favorite. This one actually probably is my favorite in this second volume 2 here. She is an absolute awesome martial artist in this. I'm not 100% sure whether it's this actual actress, Cara Hugh, or I think that's her name. But I'm not sure if she's the one actually performing the martial arts or if she has a stand-in doing it. Because some of the scenes I did notice it was showing her from behind a lot. So I didn't know. But either or, her character is awesome. And it's kind of like turf war kind of stuff. Like, she's brought in because all these different... The head of the family dies. And there's, like, a bunch of branches of their family. Like, in-laws and, you know, like, different branches of a family. And she's brought in to try to, like, figure out who's gonna get what kind of thing. And they're all fighting over it. And it ends up having a really great story and ending as well. Like, I just really enjoyed it. One of the highlights. That's probably why it gets its own disc. There's not doubles. Next up here we got, oh wow, some doozies. Mercenaries from Hong Kong. Let's start there. This one is the most action movie, Shaw Brothers movie I've seen. When I say action, I mean like not as much martial arts and more like there's a lot of guns in this. It's a team of mercenaries. It's basically like the Expendables, Chinese edition. They're all sent in on a mission thinking that they're going to be doing something, and obviously they're getting played, and there's twists and turns, and people die. Really good. Actually really enjoyed it, especially if you like something like The Expendables. And if you've watched a lot of the Shaw Brothers movies. Like, if you watch them all in order on these 2 sets, by the time you get here, you've seen everybody, so you start to actually like their characters. Like, if you're new to the studio and also just Chinese martial arts movies in general from that era, by the time you get here, if you're going through the sets, you know everybody. So they actually have meaning to you. Now here's our first horror movie. The only one actually in these 2 sets. The Boxer's Omen. Now, I didn't know what to think of this thing. It takes place at like a Shaolin temple, and how do I even explain it? Oh man, it's almost like H.P. Lovecraft feeling. Like it's just insane shit. They're praying to keep the demons and spirits away, but they keep attacking people. Like, there is flying heads in this movie that just fly at people and eat them. There is ghosts and demons. There's, like, it is just bonkers. It's gory as fuck. Like, it's a reference to outside culture. This is what I felt like I got from it. I try to place myself in the time of these movies are made, basically. Every time I watch a movie, I do this. But this one felt like if I was around in the 80s when this movie came out, I'm guessing they were trying to show you the evils of the other Asian cultures around them, because it kind of feels like that. Like they're the good guys and they're trying to stop a foreign invasion, and they're doing it by referencing the evils of their religions and stuff. So they're basically, the Shaolin Temple is just trying to pray away and protect, but there is so much insane shit in this movie that I highly recommend it. Whether or not I think it's good or not, it's something you gotta see to believe. I can't even give it justice or describe it to you. It's fucking bananas. That's what I'll say. And these are the last two in this box set, I believe. Yeah. The Martial Arts of Shaolin. This is the very first movie I've seen Jet Li in. Not, how do I word that? It's not the first time I've ever seen Jet Li or anything, but I believe this might be like his film debut. It's the oldest movie I've seen Jet Li in. That's how I should word it. Very young. And basically he's just a young master, and he's trying to master the way of the Shaolin monks, and it's got tons of comedy. Like there's a scene where he dresses up like a woman in this to sneak through a toll gate. Basically it's just a corrupt leadership and government, and they're just trying to live in this world, but it's tons of comedy. I was laughing quite often. And great martial arts, obviously. Anybody that's seen Jet Li knows that he's pretty damn good. He's insane on his speed. And then the final one here in this box set is the Barefooted Kid. This one is also another, like, it's really, like, feelings based. Like, there's emotional parts where you feel terrible for some characters. It's just very serious. It's a very serious movie. He's a homeless man, and he thinks he's doing good things, and he's being manipulated and tricked into doing things that aren't so good. And it's a mixture of just sad but some great fucking scenes in this one as well. It's so hard. All I can really say is, like, these two sets are absolute must-adds to your collection. That's all there is to it. And then you got your 2 discs of music here again, which is just great. Like, some of the music here, I couldn't even imagine driving around with some of this ancient China scores just cranked. It'd sound like you're in the fucking olden times. But yeah, 2 masterpieces, man. I would give anything for a volume 3 and a volume 4 and a 5. These are, I think they're my 2 most appreciated box sets in my entire collection. Like, obviously I have some that cost a lot more than these. These come in around $200 a piece. I paid for these Canadian. But I have some that cost a lot more than that. So I can't say they're like the most prestigious or expensive, but these are the 2 that I honestly am just the most proud to have in my collection. Here's another thing. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Shaw Brothers, like, does that symbol look familiar? It's like, it's Warner Brothers basically, right? Like, on one of the documentaries, they were talking, it was, what's his name? The very good historian. Something Rains? Lauren Rains or something? Fuck, I can't remember his name. I should have looked this up. He does a, like, hour-and-a-half documentary where he's just talking about the entire history of Shaw Brothers on one of the discs. I can't remember what box set it's in, first or second, but... And he's talking about how these guys were just trying to do Hollywood, basically. Like, they were trying to make movies that would appease to, like movies for the worldwide audience and not just China. And that's why it looks, and even the opening, like when you first hear the Shaw Brothers come up, it sounds like the opening to Warner Brothers. It's only a couple like sounds that are different in it. It just crazy, man. There's a documentary in here of all the women from Shaw Brothers history and how they're like they were more important to Run Shaw, one of the Shaw brothers, and because the men, the martial artists, were like plentiful, but finding the most perfect women to fit these roles, like ones that would know martial arts a bit, enough to be able to train, obviously beautiful, that's what they were looking for, was really difficult. So they would boost these people inside, and then it shows you like some of the how famous some of these people were, because they were huge stars in China, in Asia. And I didn't even actually, like, I've never even heard of any of them until I watched these box sets. But it shows some of, like, how famous they were. They couldn't even get out of the cars everywhere they were driving. Just hundreds of people swarming their vehicles everywhere. Like, basically what you see over here, but there. And I just find it fascinating. It's like its own little world over there. But yeah, man. Highly recommend both these beasts. I'm going to take a break from martial arts box sets for a bit, because I know I've covered a lot of it, and I'm not sure how much people actually enjoy martial arts movies. But they're two that I'm super proud to have in my collection and needed to show them off. I have another 4 volumes of Shaw Brothers movies that were put out by Shout Factory. They're not as prestigious as these, obviously. These are like highly, but they're still really nice sets. And they come with like 12 movies in each box set. And I am going to do those eventually. I've never seen any of the movies in there. So that's 12, 24, 36, 48 Shaw Brothers movies. And these ones aren't all martial arts. And there's also a lot of early ones. Like, I believe the first volume of that series starts in the 60s. Like, early 60s. So, it's a deep dive. And I'm gonna not go into that right now, because I've watched so many of these back to back that they'll start to blend in too much. I need to jump around and start doing some other stuff. But I will be doing one of those here and there in the future, eventually, because I need to get into those and watch them all. But yeah, thank you yet again. I actually got through this episode pretty quick. I thought it was going to be super long, but I skipped through the martial arts movies as quick as possible. And thank you again for joining me. And I can't wait until my next episode. I have nothing on the table now. I'm completely out of watches, so I get to start right over and fresh. So I'll see you in a couple days. Thanks.